Hi, Leo.
Hi.
So after halftime, the defense really picked up. It felt like you guys were able to sort of force Minnesota later into the shot clock, sort of forcing them higher out into the court. What did you like about the defense as the game progressed?
Yeah, I think we went into halftime and we were pretty clear about that we need to be more aggressive and need to blow up some of their actions and just be more physical with them because they could literally get whatever they wanted. So that was the goal, and I think we executed.
Yeah, after game one, you mentioned that the process on offense in that first game was kind of not where it needed to be, but it felt like it's gotten better and better. How have you liked how the team has adjusted on offense to Minnesota's defense?
Yeah, I think we're executing a lot better because we get the people in the actions that we want in that, and just knowing how the game flow is, how everybody's feeling, who's hot, and just kind of executing like that. Work better.
Yeah, and especially at the beginning of the game last night, you were really able to sort of take advantage in the post against a player like Courtney. How do you think your post ability sort of helps the offense have another layer to work with?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were able to post up court in the beginning.
Post up, yeah.
How do you think your ability to sort of score in different levels sort of helps unlock the offense to another level?
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna let me post up like that anymore. She's talking some shit to me too. So, but just kind of taking what the defense gives me. If she wants to come up and pressure me like that, I'm gonna go by her. And if they leave me open for a shot, I'm gonna take the shot. Just whatever they give me.
Thanks.
Have you been a shit talker?
No, not at all. Ignore everything. Yeah, just act like it didn't happen.
For you, have you watched the game back? What's your, routine after, when do you sit down and watch film?
Well, normally I do it the next day. I haven't gotten to do it yet because I had recovery. But yeah, I will do that today for sure.
All right. So I guess I'll ask, how much of because Brian mentioned the defense, how much of it is, Sandy always talks about being up to touch on screens and stuff. How much of a problem do you felt like that was at the beginning? Or when Kayla and Bridget were, making threes?
Yeah, I think Bridget got those threes because we were overhelping a little bit and we were not good in our rotations. Because she's usually just taking open threes. McBride, she got some easy ones. We didn't rebound well, and then the offensive rebounds got her easy looks, and that gets her going, right? You can't let a player like that get going. But yeah, we didn't blow up shit. We weren't up to touch. We weren't ready to switch on her. But yeah, I think in the second half we did a better job.
And then just, you obviously played in a bunch of big games in your career.
Yeah.
How does this environment, these finals, just the whole experience of it compare, not necessarily compare, but just, your kind of takeaways just from this experience?
Honestly, hard to say because right now we're so into the moment, but just playing in front of these people, I love to play away games in front of these crowds. I love this kind of atmosphere, so I'm just trying to soak everything in and enjoy every moment.
So I just want to follow up on that. Is it, I don't want to say easier, but is it easier to kind of get away from home sometimes in terms of when shit goes wrong, it feels like the whole building in Barclays gets anxious and a little worried?
You think it's like that? You feel it like that?
So I thought game two,
Yeah?
because, you blew the lead in game one.
Yeah.
I thought game two, when they cut it to 4,
Yeah.
it felt like everyone was like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
oh, shit. And I don't know if that is hard to...
Yeah, if you watch me play, I don't really get into the emotions of the fans that much because it's just a roller coaster, right? So I try to stay out of that, and I don't feel that. So I feel them screaming if we have a good action or whatever, but I don't try to get into that, so I'm not bothered by it at all.
Maybe I'm projecting when I played in front of 50 people.
Right.
No,
That's my bad, dude.
I think that was accurate, but what is it that you like about playing away?
The best thing is just silencing the crowd, right? They're just screaming and cheering, whatever, and you're going to run and they're silent. Not silent, but not as loud.
So you enjoy that?
Yeah, a little bit.
She's not a shit talker. She has to. You gotta have something. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Leo. So, have you guys watched back the game from last night yet, or no? Not yet? In the second half, it felt like the defense really sort of picked up. You guys were able to hold McBride and Williams to just 5 for 14. How do you think the defense was able to adjust as the game progressed?
I think just grinding it out, just being more aggressive, taking care of the things that we need to take care of, not letting them just continue to feel comfortable as the game goes on.
I think
we just had a sense of urgency. We understood the timing and what we had to do, and it finally clicked.
Yeah. In the second quarter, when Minnesota built that lead, you guys were able to sort of like steady yourselves a little bit. What helped sort of keep you guys close and not let the lead go from like 15 to like 20 and higher?
I think just taking it play by play, knowing that there wasn't going to be one big play that was going to bring us back. So just continuing to grind it out. Score, stop, score. We got our mentality going into that second half to close the game.
I think it's also understanding that we've been there before, and I think it's a growing thing and understanding that we have to grow from our mistakes. And we kind of been talking about that all year, staying together in those hard moments. So I think that was a perfect example of us doing it and just staying the course of things.
Yeah. In the post game, Stewie mentioned that she described the series as really physical. How have you guys been able to adjust to Minnesota's physicality throughout the series?
I think just matching it. We've been able to match their physicality, and we know we have to take it a step above. So we need to be the aggressors coming out and just kind of where they're at.
And one thing on offense, you guys have been able to sort of get downhill a lot more, especially compared to game one. How have you guys sort of like found that comfort level against Minnesota's defense and sort of getting the shots that you guys want? I'm sorry.
How are we able to get downhill?
I think just with the movement of our players and understanding, setting screens and allowing our playmakers to do what they do.
And last one for me, what do you think is going to be the biggest key to sort of bringing this home tomorrow night?
We got to come out and be aggressive.
Yeah, I think just kind of sticking to what makes us successful and doing that for 40 minutes.
Thank you, guys.
Has, I guess, thrown a wrinkle into that. So what's been the process of, playing through that, adjusting, whatnot?
I mean, they're switching halves, but I also feel like this last game I was kind of off ball a little bit more. Like I didn't set as many screens, and I think I need to get back into that a little more to help us be successful. Because we can still take advantage of the switch, and like either pass the ball ahead or move it to still get the ball into the paint. I think we weren't as aggressive in doing that as we could have been or should have been. I mean, I think that's an area that we can exploit against them.
Because game two, it felt like it was more than game one and game three. You know, you set the screen, seal, and like high lows and stuff like that. You feel like that. I mean, it felt that was successful from our end. You feel like successful on the court.
Yeah, most definitely. What Betnijah? Most definitely, it's something that we can go to. And I think that's one of the things, though, like with coaches and stuff, like you have so many players and you have so many people that are capable of doing different things that, like, I mean, no answer is really a wrong answer. Right. But there's still some things that you got to make sure that you keep exploiting in a series,
Yeah, and just I guess the balance on offense. Like, it feels like we're talking about that all year. We're doing enough of this, doing enough of that. I guess, is that a unique experience for you, being on this team like that? Because every team has to go through that to some extent.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I don't think it's that unique for me, to be honest, which is surprising. But I think I've kind of like faced it like different times in my career as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Just like, and also the value, because you talk a lot about the value you provide spacing, not just three-point shooting, but dragging the opposing rim protector away. How does that make your life easier, if at all? Because they talk about how that makes everybody else's life easier.
You're talking about like me being able to space?
Yeah, being able to space.
Yeah, I mean, I think it adds to the team. I think there's nothing that you really bring to the team that, I don't know, I don't really know how to answer that. I feel like, I'm there, I'm open, and the fact that I can do multiple things, it kind of just allows me to affect the game in different ways. I feel like at the beginning of the game, like it was more trying to get into the post, and later on in the game, if they're going to leave me, then I'm going to shoot it. Like even if I miss two, I'm shooting the third one. The third one goes in, the game changes,
Hi, JJ.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm good.
No problem.
In the fourth, down the stretch, you had the feed matchup. Just how do you think you were able to really sort of like bother her enough to sort of slow Minnesota down?
Yeah, I mean, she's a great player. I think just using my length, I just feel like I'm really good at like keeping people in front of me as well, and just trying to make her shoot over me. And she's got to make some tough ones, but you keep your head in the game and you keep playing. So I think that's just been the main thing, just making sure that I try to play her tendencies, and the coaches have prepared us very well with that, and just trying to play the tendencies. And then when it's all said and done, when the shot clock goes down and it's low, it's a one-on-one matchup, and 9 times out of 10 players go back to their tendencies.
When you have a teammate like Stewie who sort of blows everything up off ball, does it make your life easier as a post defender?
Most definitely, yeah. Like, you have somebody that can step in and really kind of save possession sometimes, and her activity is second to none. So I love it. I love playing with her.
Yeah, and it felt like, I was talking to B and KT about it, it feels like you guys have been able to get downhill and in the paint a lot more in the series as compared to game one.
Yeah.
How have you sort of like rated the adjustment you guys have made to what Minnesota's doing?
Yeah, I think even just in game 3 itself, like we started the game out, and I mean Leo was getting downhill, but for the most part, the rest of us, we were kind of like, they were into us and we couldn't go anywhere, you know. And I think we regrouped at halftime, and we were able to get downhill and really make some great baskets. And it changed the game for us, and I think that's been the story of our team. Like, anytime there's been a hurdle for us to get over, we've been able to, you know, find ways to do that and to be impactful and to win basketball games.
Yeah, there was that stretch in the early part of the game when Minnesota got up 15. It looked like it was going to start going the other way, but then Niara comes in, and then everything just sort of like settles itself down. What did you sort of make of her play last night, and how has she sort of grown in your years with
her activity? I keep saying this. I feel like, of course, she's grown because she's been in the league, but I feel like her being healthy, you get to see other layers of her game, and you get to see her kind of just go out there and like get more comfortable. And so I don't think it's necessarily a growth thing, more of just an opportunity and the fact that she's healthy thing, you know. But yeah, she did a lot of great things. She played with a great energy. She was able to finish the contact, and we're going to need that from her to try to close this out.
Yeah, she's a really good roller going to the basket.
Very
like,
fast.
What's this? Is there like an art to being a good roller?
Yeah, screening and being able to get out really quickly, and I think she has that first step, like that explosive first step that allows her to get there.
Yeah, and last one for me. Got another big one tomorrow night. What do you think is going to be the biggest thing you guys need to sort of like get right to sort of bring it all the way home?
I think our start is going to be important. First and third is going to be extremely important. Just understand that it's going to be a dogfight and the hardest game of the series, and we're going to have to be prepared for that.
Thank you, JJ.
No problem.
That game was pretty wild. Like watching it, like, what's the sort of emotion in your mind as you're going on the big comeback run to just the rainbow at the finish line?
Honestly, my emotions were on overdrive because, I mean, the first quarter, we got punched in the mouth. But then the team that we are, I just knew that we were going to bounce back, and I just knew we were going to respond because throughout the entire season, we always respond well when we get punched in the face, punched in the mouth. So, I mean, my emotions were on overdrive, but like, I did believe that we could win the game last night. So.
Yeah. It feels like for you guys have such a great ability to sort of like withstand those big runs. What goes into sort of like maintaining your poise, especially on the road where things start at a really bad way?
Yeah, I mean, I said it before, just sticking together. We've always said that when things get tough, we just have to stick together no matter what, because we're going to have those down moments where things aren't going our way. So the most important thing is to stick together and stay in the moment. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I was talking to B, KT, and JJ about how you guys have been sort of able to sort of get back in the paint a little bit more, especially compared to game one.
Yeah.
Just how have you sort of rated the team's ability to adjust on the fly to what Minnesota's doing?
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's what makes us a number one team in the league, the fact that we're just able to adjust to anything. And for the people on the bench to see everything, so we just kind of give that feedback of like, they're packing in the paint, so maybe we got to move the ball more until in that final moment we can be able to push it to JJ or Stu and get a great shot. So being able to observe on the bench and then give that feedback helps a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like especially like on the defensive side, having a player like Stewie who just is such an off-ball like demon in a sense, for lack of a better term. Just how does that make life easier as a defender, knowing that I have someone who would just like pick up the rotation, get back to her man, all these kind of things, and just like one.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that, like just having each other's backs on defense, because if one person is doing their job, that means everyone else has to be in sync, you know. And I feel like yesterday we did a good job. Like after that little slump that we had, we did a much greater job just being able to read off each other on the defensive end, and then it translated to the offensive end, honestly. So
yeah, I saw a graphic this morning that this series so far has the highest combined attendance as far as fans in the building in WNBA history.
I love that.
Just as like we talk a lot about just like the New York atmosphere and how great it is, but just sort of seeing record crowds everywhere you guys go, just what's that feeling like as a player?
I mean, honestly, it's amazing, and I feel like I'm being like
I sound like a broken radio, like the fact that like just each year, and I feel like even like each game is just the attendance just gets better and better, you know, and it just shows like how much the W is growing, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of, and I'm blessed that I'm being able to like actually be a part of it, honestly, and I feel like it's just gonna get better from here, honestly, and it's just a lot of fun, you know, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess like when I was watching upstairs, I'm like, it must be so nerve-wracking, just sort of like, because like, I was telling Jonathan, like, has his heart rate lowered since last night? As a player who's in it, like, what's that feeling like of just like, how do you sort of manage the intensity and emotion of it as you're going through it?
I feel like as professionals, we're built for this moments like these, you know. So like, and like I said, being able to be a part of it is honestly, for some of us, it's a once in a lifetime thing, and I mean, we embrace it, honestly, and it's just a lot of fun to be surrounded by a great group of women who are just committed to giving their best in every game, and just want to win a championship, you know. So.
And speaking of, got one more to go.
What
do you think is going to be the biggest thing you guys need to sort of like lock down to bring it home tomorrow night?
I'm gonna say sticking together, and just leaving it all on the floor, you know. Yeah, and like at the end of the day, just having fun, and just to compete, honestly.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
And then they're the lessons that we need to put in for tomorrow, but even go to another level. And that's where I suppose we focus on. And then you think, well, you know, it's a chess game. They came out and did some things differently. Okay, well, we weathered it. We didn't always execute as perfectly, but now what do we need to do? Now, because we've had that lesson of the experience, how they played, that's the muscle memory.
Do you feel like, because I asked you, like, you know, we were talking like, okay, eventually it's going to be when it came back and hit a bunch of threes. Did you feel like you had the appropriate level of defense going into that first?
Yeah, look, I think we did, but we had some breakdowns. Like, I think it wasn't about the defense, we just had some breakdowns and they made shots. So we had spoke about K-Max coming out, they need another scorer. We talked all about that. We can't get them out for threes. We've got to be able to touch, we've got to make sure we're executing. But then they get one and then we turn it over and they get easy baskets. So really our turnovers were Achilles heel. And if we're giving a great shooter an open look, then it's too easy. So once we upped our defense and we took care of the ball and our defense brought it up a little bit, then we could slow it down a little bit, you know, especially in that second half. I think she came back when she had 6 points in the second and Cartline had 4, so we can deal with that.
Speaking of not turning the ball over, I walked in and talked about Stephen and Niara specifically, just how proud of you that she impacted the game by like doing what she's good at.
And exactly what we did. You know, that's what I was pumping her up this last. I said this is going to be more serious, and she can get downhill. And we need, you know, paint to right. We need people that can get into the paint. Otherwise, this team is too good with their screens. We need to get clean looks, and that's by paint touches. She's always hitting the offensive board. She's always running. She just has everything. She was gassed 7 minutes straight, I think, I played her. Really, really proud of her. Just her growth. I think in the second half, she had that turnover. I think got a little bit nervous after from that. But, you know, I see her minutes, so maybe we'll give her even some more minutes tomorrow, and she'll have fresher legs than some of the rest of it.
How tough is it for you, just because she's really this impactful player, but also student?
Yeah, look, I think JJ's she's had some big minutes. She's battering JJ, and that's physical, that's tiring. So maybe that's where I can get a little more extra minutes for Niara there with JJ. She was just a gazelle. She, you know, we took her out, she had 2 shots. And then I gave her a real short break in the third. You know, just a reset there, and you know, I think it was great for her. She has to go compete tomorrow.
I asked JJ about, you know, you talked about how she's good on the roll when she catches it downhill. They're switching kind of this little wrinkle into that. How do you think you guys have responded to it?
Yeah, probably not as well as we could. I think we did really well with Stewie. In the switching, you know, seeking out this one. We want to seek it, but we've got to make quicker decisions. We've got to see it. If it's not there, we've got to move it because of that congestion. And then, you and JJ were trying to like, don't dribble. It's either you're shooting it, being assertive, trying to get her in the middle, trying to get her in those high lines. They're being really physical, but we've got to create the space. We still want to make sure, get the touches where she can, but I think she's handled, the physicality as well as you would hope. I think, she's getting the space to the basket, creating for others, and that's a part of it. If something's not working, what else can you do? Because you're not just a one-dimensional player, and she has so many different facets to her game.
Have you watched the game from last night yet? Because I was they were like, recovery. It's been a crazy 12 hours. Do you just go home and immediately?
I watched that match 5 hours, and then I watched till halftime. See, I don't clip the ball like as a head coach. That helps. I just take my notes and write my notes down and all that. Whereas Zach and all I do offense and defense. And then we just met for 2 hours. And after this, we'll go back and watch the video and do a walkthrough. So, I'll have a good sleep tonight and sleep well. But it's more about planning. We're trying to, okay, what do we need to do better, and then what else can they do, and be prepared for any what ifs, basically. But if you play defense, in the end, I'm saying it's like the set's not going to get you open. It's the movement, the spacing, and then how do we execute those.
Going back to the turnovers real quick from the first quarter, what are the ways to counteract that? I think you mentioned just physicality, getting downhill.
They all jump switching a fair bit, and then we couldn't hit on screens, so that's where we just got to move it. We've got to trust the second and third side. I think every time we did that, Leo's coming off, getting downhill, Leo's going to get shot. Okay, we've got to throw back to a punch in. We're able to then get it, maybe reverse it again, we get to the next action. I think when we stay true to that and not try and force the action on the first side, that's when our execution goes up. And I think we know what they did. I think they threw as much as they could out of them. I thought it fatigued them. It was hard work for them. But it was, it was good, but we'll be ready for that. There's things we can do to combat that. And then just know when you try to be number one, or if you pick the ball up, they're just denying everything. So we got to be a little smarter, purposeful. Okay, we know what they're doing. They do that all the time. And we didn't execute it because we're a little bit slow to the next action. We've got to be crisper in that.
Definitely luxury to have Stewie just get the ball to her and let her do the offense if things are working for her. But it sounds like, obviously, if you guys want to close this out, you want to have the better decision making and process.
Yeah, and like I said, it was all of them here. Don't keep the pace up, keep the movement up, play in that phase, but you can't be taking it out all the time. We're taking it out all the time because we have the turnovers and taking it out. So now they're already set. We've got to make a move.
So that stuff feels a little bit self-inflicted.
Yes, they pressured us. Credit to their defense, but we're a better team. We didn't need to have those turnovers. Some of them, we always say, limit the unforced ones. Well, some of them were forced because, they're pressure. So we've got to handle pressure. That was one of our goals going in. We've got to handle pressure. What's that look like? Well, we know what it looks like even more when they pressure every game and they went to another level last game. So, where can we exploit it a little bit?
Thank you.
Sandy, I had a quick one for you. So Stewie just said, I don't know how much you were on Twitter last night after the game, but all these people were reacting, right? And Derek and Hamby tweeted, is that what Sandy drew up in the timeout? And Stewie just goes, no, that is not what we drew up, actually.
Well, it would have been on if they had stayed on the other side.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yes, because Sabrina wanted to go back to her left hand, so we got all confused. Now, JJ still did what she needed to do, and it was always going to be Sabrina.
Yeah, so what I wondered, though, is, when she made it, what happened, on press row, we all react oh my God, I can't believe it. Not because we all care who wins, but it's just, an incredible shot and a big moment. And I asked Stewie what was her reaction, and she's like, well, I wanted to celebrate, and then I was like, wait, did they call timeout? We have to play defense. What was it like for you, the 5 seconds afterward?
I was more the same as Stewie. I'm like, come on, they still got the ball though, let's go. I don't think I might have gave a fist bump. I can't even remember quite honest. I just saw this big shot. I was like, oh, thank you God. That's nice. They're great wins. They're great to be a part of, and we will just game one on the other end of it, So it's nice to get one go our way, but I was more focused on, still 1 second. Make sure that don't relax.
So then when you watched it back, what stood out to you?
Yeah, look, in the end, it was still, even though it was supposed to be on the other side, JJ still what she had to do, still was the only one that wasn't, the situation. Sabrina made a play. And in the end, when it's a tied ball game, you put the ball in one person's hand and they're making a play. So Sabrina made a play. I thought it was a really good play. I thought Kayla would have been a little bit more into it. That's why I ghosted the screen. I thought she could go downhill. But she had space, so Sabrina made a basketball play.
And were you, when you watched it back, we were all talking about like, damn, she was pretty deep.
She makes those. We see it all the time in practice. So it's something she puts in. I knew when she had her feet set, she's, shot it and like, oh, it's going in. But she just made some. And I went to her why because at that time I thought that was the best thing. But it doesn't mean she wouldn't have got it. We had a long shot clock, but then after the foul, shorter shot clock.
Right.
So it didn't. Only had a reset, so I was more like, oh well, yeah, this doing again. We good. But it's just Sabrina shoots those shots and she makes those shots.
One quickie before they kick us out. You've had so much individual success, team success. You've accomplished so much in this game. Is there something different about being on the precipice of here with this particular franchise, one of the original franchises? We know what basketball in New York means and all that kind of stuff. Does this one feel a little bit different?
I'm trying not to get too high to low. Quite honest, I'm not even thinking about that. Because, the game's not won yet.
Yeah.
We can't get too far ahead of ourselves, I think. And we have to learn. We went to Vegas, we're up 2-0. We lost that game because we didn't bring the right intensity. They're going to raise it. They're going to go to another level. I thought they played a really good game last night. I didn't think we played our best game. But we played 30 minutes of great defense. We found a way to win, and I think that's the experience we've had by another year together that's helped us to overcome any kind of adversity that's thrown at us. So for me, I'm just focused on that one game, and when we win the championship, then I'll give you.
I was going to say we'll revisit that at a later date. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy.